if people want to chastise me for something I did when I was 10 years old after 2 years of abuse, then they can certainly have that kind of energy for Destiny. I guess just for long-term effects, I guess Rob, if the allegations against Destiny are true, do you think he should be put on a sex offender registry so that way future sexual partners can be warned of his crimes?
No, I don't know. Like,
Okay.
it depends on what the law is. Do I think it's a good idea that people would be warned that Destiny has potentially done shit? I guess, unless
So,
he's, but I would have to read the law. Like, I don't think what he did rises to the level of exposing yourself to someone in public. I don't think it rises to the level of sexually assaulting someone. If the laws in certain states or certain registries say people that have violated people's consents through filming them without their knowledge and Destiny's found to have done that, then yeah, I guess if that's what the law
well,
says.
that would be one of the allegations against Destiny,
Well,
wouldn't
yes,
it?
if it's proven true, I said. I think that
So,
we
so,
are
so,
operating under the
so your
assumption that
answer is yes, Destiny, if the allegations are found to be true, should be put on a sex offender
do
list.
the laws say that filming someone without consent puts you on the sex offender list?
You just gave the qualifications for
No, I
that.
didn't. I said if this specific list says that violating someone's consent by filming them without their consent means that you should be put in this list, then I would be fine with that. I'm unaware that that's the case. Should we change the law? I don't know. Maybe there's room for a discussion on whether or not. I don't think that's a Destiny specific conversation, but maybe we should seriously consider people that film people without their consent. Maybe they should be put in a list. I don't know that I would support, though, someone that filmed with consent but then sent that to a third party. I
But
mean,
that's not the only allegation,
of
right?
course, that's of
And
course,
so,
but
so
that
again, I will ask
allegation's
the
been
question:
admitted.
if the allegations are true,
Yeah.
if they are true, it's conditional. Should Destiny be put on a sex offender list?
So that again, I would have to think about it heavily. I don't think as the laws are
Why,
written.
in the general, are you okay with entertaining the idea of putting people on the sex offender list for this type of offense of secretly recording sexual acts? But when we talk about Destiny specifically, you cannot make that, like, cross that bridge.
Well, it's easy because I don't think that we should make an exemption to the law for one specific person. If we're going to have a
No,
broader
no, no, no.
conversation,
Nobody's asking for an exemption. You can say it in the general. You just won't say it about
no,
Destiny.
that's not true at all. If
You
I would
you
have
just rejected it like 4 times.
listen to me. I was quite clear that said if that's what the law suggests, then yes, he should be put in the list if he's found guilty of that. But if not, then no. But then I said when we talk about should that be the law, I'm open to hearing about it. I think that it would be an interesting debate to have, right? I think we have to be honest about how many times there's my buddy Glenn. Hey, Glenn, have you ever been somewhere and you saw someone show you a picture of tits and said, hey, there's a chick I hooked up with last night? Yeah. Should that
Oh yeah.
person be on a sex offender list?
Nah.
At
See,
what
that's
age?
what I'm saying.
At what age
I
should
was
like the sex offender stuff start like happening? Like if you fuck up as like a 16-year-old, should you be on the sex offender list?
It's tough. It depends on the nature of it, I
it
guess.
depends on the crime
Yeah.
exactly, you know. Like if you're
I mean,
raping
I mean,
somebody, probably.
people can be put on the sex offender list as minors, but I mean, if there's mitigating factors like that, typically there's. I mean, not even all sex crimes are you on the registry forever. So I mean, yeah, of course, minors can be put on the sex offender list.
What is like the minimum age that you would
I
support
don't
having
know
them?
the specifics of that.
No, I know. That's why I'm
Um,
not asking you specific. I'm just asking like what age you think is too young to put someone on it.
It depends on what they do.
I I
Is it going to be based on age or based on crime?
Let's assume the worst. The worst.
Would it
I,
not be? Would it not be
I
based
don't
on
know
like you
the answer
repeating
to
your
that
offense?
question.
Not
I know that I would be
bias-based?
comfortable with people 18 and above being put on the sex offender list.
But not a
That's-
17 year
If
old.
a 14-year-old did the worst sexual crime possible, I have no problem with him being on the list the rest of his life. He fucking knew better at
The
14.
rest of his life?
Yeah.
So for those that actually, for those who are curious, it depends state by state. So it really depends on the state. Everyone's gonna have their own way to handle it.
Why is that? Why does that trouble you, non-fun? If an adult does that, should he be placed on it the rest of his life?
Um, the worst sexual crime imaginable, probably. I don't know. I
So
don't
what's
know
the
if I
difference
would.
if it's a 14-year-old and you
What's
think
the
they should
difference
be on
between
the
a
list?
You know,
17-year-old and an
your brain
18-year-old?
isn't even fully developed until you're like over 20, right? I guess I just don't. I guess like I see a much larger potential for someone to change if they do something really bad when they're
So you're
14.
thinking? Are you saying that any age after 25, okay, lifetime prison? But you know what? 24 and a half if you go out and grape somebody, you know, you should probably say
I would have
10
to think
years.
more where I would draw the exact line of when it's appropriate to put someone on for life. But I think 14 feels too low because I feel like there's, like, you know,
I
I'm
think
only.
that you should. I think that you should be. If that sort of thing happens again, it's not like this list means that it's a life sentence as far as behind bars, right?
I was gonna ask, like, could you be taken off if you have good behavior long enough?
I don't know.
That how it works?
The whole point of the list is like, think about it. What if someone? Do any of you have children?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. What if someone sexually assaulted a child when they were 15 and now they're 40? Are you like, it's cool they take them off the list? I didn't need to know my neighbor that's talking to my daughter coming into the house off the school bus every day. I didn't need to know that. Fuck yeah, I'd want to know. If they did the crime to be put on the list, then and it's the worst crime, then yeah, leave them on the list. That doesn't mean they may not have changed, but the purpose of the list is to give people the right to know, look, this is a possibility, protect your loved ones, and make sure you're careful around this person. So I you know, it'd be different if we're having a conversation. Should they be, you're 14, you do this, should you be locked up and the key thrown away?
I'll disagree a little bit. It is for safety, but I think it's more so like so we can catch repeat offenders, people that are going to do this again. In theory, there's someone, if they're like, again, it's gonna be hard to prove, but if they're never going to offend again, they should be able to like go about society.
Well,
okay,
yes.
I don't know.
But I mean, you can say that about anything at all. If a 40-year-old did it and we knew
I
they
believe in
never
restorative justice, yeah.
I mean, but you get it, right? If a 40-year-old did that and then you could see in a crystal ball they'd never do it again, I guess, but that's the whole point. If we're looking at factors, right, for what makes someone likely to do that, recidivism would probably be the top factor. You've done it in the past. And so, you know, as the whole point of the, like, I'll tell you what, I grew up in a rural area. I was shocked. Growing up, I was always like, you'd see this shit, you know, I'm 40, so you'd see this shit on TV, like child offenders and stuff. You'd be like, that's like big city shit. And then once I'm an adult and you look, there's people all around on this fucking list. And some of it I get is like, some dude took a piss drunk and the school bus drove by. But some of it's like, this dude did 15 years. And you're like, wow. This blows my mind. I didn't know that was in my region. So I understand the utility of something like this. You know, what Destiny did doesn't rise nearly to the level of anything we're talking about here. But just in theory, yeah, I don't have a problem if someone is strong enough and sexually, you know, mature enough to commit the most heinous sex crime against a defenseless person. I have no problem with the world being aware of that the rest of that person's life. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, it's different. Maybe if the crime's less. Let's say, hypothetically, Sick, what you're saying ends up being the case. That a certain state has a law that says if you film someone against their consent, you go on a sex offender list, right? So the 14-year-old gets put on that list.
Sorry, I just need to be explicitly clear. Not just film somebody against their consent, because there's plenty of states where that is totally fine.
Okay.
I mean, anything one-party consent. We're talking about specifically filming somebody engaging in a sexual act.
Yeah, of course. That was implied in what I was saying, of course. So filming someone engaged in a sexual act without their consent, right? If we would have a state that would be enough to get you put on the list, I think that maybe a 14-year-old at some point you could be like, well, this was something fucking a stupid person would do and we'd be more lenient. So I agree with Glenn. It depends on the nature of the crime. It's the same with like penalties when it comes to homicide. If a 15-year-old kid vandalizes something, you're probably more lenient on their permanent record than a fucking 40-year-old man. But if a 14-year-old brutally murders 3 people, you might say, I'm sorry, like that's a crime so heinous, we're going to treat you as an adult. And I'm okay with that sort of the severity of the crime changing how we treat adolescent criminals. So.
I don't think anyone disagrees with that in principle. I think we just disagree on how far we should go with that. I don't know if I'd ever view like life imprisonment or, you know, putting you on the sex offender registry for life as appropriate punishment for someone that young, even if they've committed, you know, one of the worst crimes you can commit. I don't know. I just see so much potential.
I'll be honest. This whole thing is
them.
bait purgatory anyways. It's kind of uninteresting anyways.
But back to the Coomer Gremlin, you know, I kind of feel bad for Destiny right now. I do. I know it's kind of weird, Rob, because I normally, you know, like to just roast.
Oh wait, chill. Okay, speaking of purgatory, I'm sorry. I'm getting spam DM'd, and I'm not trying to do this, dog. I'm not. I swear to God, Sick. I'm getting spam DM'd. Okay, I'm sorry to press you about this live. Okay, someone is telling me the sick guy you're talking to tried to rape his 8-year-old sister when he was 12 and told the story online 3 times.
Age is wrong.
And he said Queeman was repeating this. He said this on his stream. Do you know? Can you please just elaborate on this, please? Can you please just elaborate on this?
I mean, you are putting me on the spot, but
I know. I'm sorry. I'm getting spammed. I'm literally getting spammed. I'm supposed to ignore it, but I feel like if this person's spamming me, like 3 different people from Queeman's little area are spamming me, I'm like, okay, then it sounds like I'm dodging. I'm sweeping the platform. Someone who tried to rape their sister. So I just need to hear you repeat this. So I
from
can
the
move
ages
on.
of 8 to 10, I was molested. When I was 10,
Mhm.
I tried that on somebody else. That's
I
it.
understand that.
That is the story. And I was not 12.
That's sad to hear. I was also molested, so I understand your pain. Okay, that's all. I apologize for bringing up. I didn't know if it was
any condolences.
Listen,
or
I
feelings or
didn't.
anything.
No, I
What
didn't know if it was okay.
wrong.
Tariffs?
Yeah,
I
I
did
did
talk
was
about
wrong.
tariffs. Fucking.
I didn't know.
I
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if you were like. I didn't know if you were like. They were like telling me a troll, and I'm like, okay. If they're telling me a troll, then this guy will say you're a retard, and he'll move on. So yeah, my apologies.
I mean,
It's
hey,
like-
you know what?
Destiny-
Let me
Destiny
put
trauma.
it this way: if people want to chastise me for something I did when I was 10 years old after 2 years of abuse, then they can certainly have that kind of energy for Destiny. Okay, at 36, I think he's
100%,
fine
100%.
sharing that culpability and responsibility.
100%. I didn't like 100% believe them with you, and I was like, okay, should I DM about this? But I'm like, okay, it's like content. I get it.
Well, we probably all agree, like someone who's like born with trauma, like maybe if your grandma repeatedly kills like your dogs that you're bonding to when you're a child, that probably leads to like bad results when you're an adult. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. So yeah,
No,
maybe
I
Destiny's
understand.
the sympathetic figure in this whole story, right?
No, and I understand it. Like I was also like as a kid, I was also in this situation. I didn't do that, but I can understand how there would be feelings towards there. But no, I get that. No, again, I apologize for kind of vibe terroristing that. I just again was getting spammed, and I didn't want Queeman to like go on JSTOK and I'd be like, oh, I'm just sweeping for someone that they don't like or something. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so non-fun. You didn't say it was anti-rape. Also, why am I getting? Hold on one second. I'm getting TTS spammed. Can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Okay, on this specific point, which is a real fucking tragedy, I do home health care with adults with disabilities. One of the crazy things about the field, like people with autism and shit like that, your chances of being like sexually assaulted, molested, and shit.
What is this? Hold up. Sorry. Go ahead. There's something blaring on TTS. Hold up.
Anyways,
Ignore him,
your
Rob.
chance,
Please keep going.
your chances of being assaulted or something like that, if you have a serious disability like autism or nonverbal or something, goes through the roof, right? And it is tragic that you do see that a lot of people, particularly if you don't have a societal understanding that people that don't have those disabilities have, and you've been treated like that as a child, then as an adult, you think that that's normal behavior. And a lot of people end up being on a list and something like we've talked about. And so it does influence sort of my perception, because I've dealt with a lot of people that I think are really good people that maybe don't have this sort of mental capacity to understand right from wrong societally like that. And they grew up in that sort of shitty thing. But still, as a member, even though my heart would go out to them in many cases, the members of the public have the right to know that this is a possibility, that this sort of shit is more likely to happen with this person than with a general member of the public, and regardless of the reasons. So anyways, I was happy talking about fucking tariffs and shit before we jumped into like that. Tried to bridge it into a little something, but yeah, it's fucked up. You got to be careful, right? Like whoever was DMing you that, Darius, you'll be real fucking careful before you're like, people are saying you're a rapist. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's sort of what Dan and Darius were saying with some of the Destiny shit that they or trying to correct the record. It's okay to say what he did's fucked up, but the people that maybe would go further, we should be careful.